Call of Duty World War II has had a bit of a rocky start with bugs and glitches and iffy servers, but it did get Call of Duty back on its feet. The series has been on and off for the past few years, and World War II definitely isn't a perfect game, but it's really helped Activision's behemoth get back up to where it's meant to be. So the first DLC pack for Call of Duty World War II has been released, at least on PS4. We on PC are still waiting for it. But irrelevant of that, all eyes are already on November, waiting on what the next Call of Duty title is going to be. Now, this time it's Treyarch's go, which makes me very, very excited, but it doesn't mean that they're not subject to some criticism, because there's definitely some pointers I feel like I can give them to make this year's COD even better than World War II. So I thought I'd throw something together to tell Treyarch exactly how they should be making Call of Duty 2018. I'm Rich from WhatCulture.com, and this is how they should make Call of Duty 2018. So first off, don't make a continuation of Black Ops 3. Now, the Black Ops trilogy is sort of up there with the Modern Warfare trilogy. It's not better, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely the second best sort of sub-series in Call of Duty. I've sunk a huge amount of time into the trilogy, but as a Black Ops fan, I don't want to see a follow-up to Black Ops 3 being released at the end of this year. While Black Ops and Black Ops 2 are very, very solid titles, Black Ops 3 wobbled a little bit. The campaign was trying far too hard to be a lot cleverer than it really was. The multiplayer was just, the advanced move wasn't great. The zombies, however, was brilliant. I'll not dispute that. I very much enjoyed the zombies. But the whole future setting tried to play more mind games with the player, which didn't really work. Hence why I want them to stay out of the future and live either in the past or in present day. The future has been massively overdone in Call of Duty now, the first being Black Ops 2 in 2012, and then you had the likes of Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. Whew. As for the advanced moves, so the wall running, the sliding and the boost jumping and all that thing, it really split players down the middle. Me personally, I absolutely hated it. So I'm hoping they don't do a continuation of Black Ops 3 and set it in 2162, and I'd rather they stuck to now or go back, so they need to find a new era. About that. So secondly, find a new era. It's as simple as that, really. The one era that keeps resurfacing with fans is the Cold War, or Vietnam specifically. I mean, we did visit the Cold War during Black Ops 1 and in like half of Black Ops 2, but there hasn't been a game that's been set sort of just in that time period, just focusing on that. I mean, Black Ops was a whole different story, it just happened to coincide with the Cold War. Going back to World War II might be a bit of a stretch, because irrelevant to the fact that Call of Duty, whatever it is this year, has been in development way before we even knew about World War II, people will still look at it and go, oh look, Treyarch are cashing in on Sledgehammer's success, even though they wouldn't have decided to make a World War II game after World War II release. They give themselves 8 months to make the game. Now, pretty much every single battle in history, bar World War I, but that's kind of Battlefield's thing, has been touched on in some way by Call of Duty. So one thing they could do is they could do some alternate history, pull a Wolfenstein instead. Now, of course, doing something like the Nazis won World War II would be very, very Wolfenstein. It would be very, very lazy, so I hope to God they don't do that. But they could take an initial plotline from a Call of Duty game and go from there. Because if this is still going to be a Black Ops game, they could go back to when, for example, Mason was programmed to kill President Kennedy, and obviously in the game it doesn't happen, but what if it did? What if Black Ops 4 is like Black Ops 1.5, an alternate skew from what could have happened in Black Ops? So Mason kills President Kennedy and all hell breaks loose. World War III, at least a Treyarch World War III, not like the Modern Warfare 3 World War III. Next up, give the campaign its own identity. Call of Duty reuses assets left, right and centre. You see it in every single game. I mean, there's a death animation that I think was introduced in Call of Duty 4 or maybe even earlier that you see in the trailer for Infinite Warfare. They keep reusing assets every year. It's a standard criticism of Call of Duty, it's just the same game reskinned. Now, World War II definitely wasn't built from the ground up. There's a lot of reused assets even in the game itself. You can run around headquarters and find the same woman with a bandage on her hand 6 times. But it did feel very unique. It didn't feel like just a blunt reskin of what we'd seen before. I mean, I know in the grand scheme of things it is because it's Call of Duty, but it didn't feel like it. And that's what Treyarch really need to do. I mean, trying to rebuild the whole library of assets and stuff that they've been using for years is a big job, and they shouldn't really put it down to one company, but if they can at least make Black Ops 4, or whatever it's going to be, feel completely new and not so much like a Call of Duty game, then that's great. So if each development company made a very different feeling Call of Duty every year, maybe the argument of just a complete reskin might eventually fizzle out. As long as they feel different enough, maybe this could be Treyarch's first very different feeling game. And I remember jumping into Black Ops 2 and how much different it felt to Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 1. Like mechanically, the shooting especially felt really different. Maybe this is what they need to do with this game in comparison to World War II and Black Ops 3. So even after talking about something they should change, there is one thing they need to keep the same, at least compared to World War II and older games, is keep the multiplayer boots on the ground. Again, I've already said it, advanced move, I hated it, and a lot of other people did. I think that's why World War II was so successful, because it was back to how the multiplayer was remembered. I mean, if you watched anything to do with World War II in the build-up to the game's release, they wouldn't stop saying boots on the ground, boots on the ground, boots on the ground. It's a buzzword, and it works. And to be honest, that's what people wanted to see, and that's why I've actually enjoyed playing the multiplayer compared to playing the Black Ops 3 multiplayer. Now, on the flip side to boots on the ground being brought back in World War II is most of the maps in World War II, at least the base game, as I've said, I've not played the DLC yet because it's not out yet, the maps weren't great. They could be better. I'm hoping that the DLC packs will bring some more diversity, but that's something that Treyarch need to keep in mind. Make the maps diverse, please. Now, if Treyarch just ignored all of this and then went, yeah, we will still put advanced move into the multiplayer, they can pronounce this 2018 COD dead on arrival. It's not what people want to see, so don't put it in. Next up is a bit of speculation. If there's a remaster involved, don't Infinity Ward it. Now, the decision to sell Modern Warfare Remastered bundled in with Infinite Warfare only was a bit of a dick move. Probably not from Infinity Ward themselves, in fact I sincerely doubt it came from them. It was most likely the big people, Activision, let's face it. So Modern Warfare Remastered was injected with the iffy practices of loot boxes and COD points and all things like that, which sort of ruined the game for a lot of people. Another thing was how much of the actual base game from the original was walled off as DLC in this remaster. You got like 6 or 7 multiplayer maps with the remaining, like God knows how many, walled off to be released along the game's lifespan. It was just a stupid idea. Now, as much as Modern Warfare Remastered was hyped no end, after the game released, we didn't really hear much more about it because everyone had lost interest. Same with Infinite Warfare, really. Goes to show how little people actually cared. Now, if Treyarch do a remaster alongside whatever game comes out this year, I just hope they don't take the same approach that they did to Modern Warfare Remastered. At least this is actually Activision I'm referring to now, not Treyarch. Don't f it up, please. Now, I asked you over on the What Culture Gaming Twitter what you'd like to see remastered if they did a remaster, and Black Ops narrowly beat World at War by a single %. Now, personally, I would like to see Black Ops remastered. Now, I feel that's actually the better option because the Black Ops brand has been present in this generation of consoles. World at War hasn't, but then they could also tap into the World War II hype and bring back World at War. So it could go either way really, and that's if they do one in the first place. But if they do that, again, they need to take inspiration from not Modern Warfare Remastered. Don't wall off the base game, don't add in supply drops, don't add in stupid DLC. If you want to remaster all the DLC for Black Ops 1, be my guest, I'd pay stupid money for that. But just make it the original game, don't try and take the game and pump in all the crap that people don't like from current Call of Duties and put it into that one. Could you imagine getting Black Ops back? Like exactly how it was. Wager matches, COD points in their original form. No paywalls, no supply drops, no random crappy DLC, just as it was. If they released that solely as a special edition of the 2018 game, I'd buy that, especially if they advertise the fact that this is the game how it was, not how we want it to be, so we can bleed that for money, as well as bleeding 2018's COD for money. Next up, my personal favourite bit, keep raising the zombies bar. Now, Treyarch Zombies will always be the zombies mode for Call of Duty. I mean, it was the first one to do it, and it has been the longest running Call of Duty Zombies we've had, since it's been running for 10 years this year. Now, Nazi Zombies in World War II had a really great start. I really enjoyed the Final Reich. I've not played the Darkest Shore yet again, DLC 1 is still not out for PC, but the replayability and actually how scary it was died off pretty quickly. I haven't found myself putting much time into the Final Reich as I have been just going back to Black Ops 3 and playing that Zombies over and over again. Now, World War II Zombies is more based around the Easter egg. Everything is built around that, whereas Treyarch Zombies, they have this arcadey nature. I mean, you've got the Easter egg, of course, and I know that in the later maps, especially into Black Ops 2 and 3, they were very much based around the Easter egg, but you could just play those maps as they were. With something like the Final Reich, the Easter egg's kind of forced upon you, so every time I try and play that game, I always think, oh, I've got to do the Easter egg again. Whereas in Black Ops 3, I can just start playing a map and just go nuts. Now, I could dive deep into the lore of zombies and what they need to do, but that is definitely a story for another time. It's far too vast to explain here. If you want to hear stuff about that, let me know in the comments below, because I could talk about zombies lore for days. But anyway, there are a lot of loose threads that Black Ops 3 finished on, a lot of wispy bits floating around the Origins timeline, so I hope that in Black Ops 4 Zombies, or whatever it's going to be, they tie up those loose ends. The one thing I don't want them to do is take a whole new crew of people, kind of like how they introduced the Victis crew in Black Ops 2, and just sort of go from there. Don't leave the Origins timeline open-ended and just leave it till the end of the next game to actually tie it up. Let's tie it up straight away, Treyarch. Come on. We want some closure. We're still waiting on it. Now, talking about remasters, Black Ops 3 had the Giant as a pre-order bonus, which is a remastered version of Der Riese. Now, could we get that again with the next game? I mean, they're going to add pre-order bonuses in anyway, why not add in a Zombies map like they did last time, because it was really successful. Now, after Mob of the Dead, the Black Ops 2 map that everybody absolutely adores wasn't included in Zombies Chronicles, musings have been going around that that's going to be the remastered map for the pre-order edition of Black Ops 4, again, whatever it may be. Now, there is a long shot, but if it is, they're going to get a lot of pre-orders. So yeah, Mob Remastered. You should do that too. And finally, use the World War II style loot boxes, not the Black Ops 3 ones. As I've said, the game has had a lot of issues and things they did wrong, but there were also a lot of things that World War II did right. And one of those things is loot boxes. Now, you may not want to talk about it because loot boxes suck, I know, but they are here to stay. There is no way in hell they're going to be going anywhere. Now, I know that Battlefront 2 put a massive dent in that part of the industry, but it's not killed them off completely. They will be there. I'm sorry. Now, unlike previous Call of Duties, World War II's loot box system is actually very tame, and I must say, I quite like it. Not because I put money into it, but because of how little it actually interferes with the game. Now, Black Ops 3, which is Treyarch's last game, which I wrongly said was the first game to introduce supply drops, that was Advanced Warfare, sorry about that. Their loot box system was a little bit more malicious compared to what World War II does. Now, World War II's is very much cosmetic only, so, you know, the pistol grips, the costumes, the taunts, and then you get things like XP buffs and stuff like that. You can get the heroic variants of weapons, but they literally give you XP buffs and that's it. I feel like they've done quite a good job. I mean, you can still sink loads of money into it by all means, but you can still grind to get the heroic variants, or you can just not buy them anyway because it doesn't really change much. Black Ops 3, on the other hand, they put brand new weapons into the loot boxes. Now, I know that World War II added in the new weapons with the Winter Siege thing and the new Resistance stuff, but they did it in a very different way to how Black Ops 3 did it. They were completely locked away behind loot boxes and they were really hard to get. Those weapons in Black Ops 3 were really good ones. Things like the AN-94 from Black Ops 2, the Galil, the M16, the AK-74U, the FAMAS, the PPSH they put into Black Ops 3, but you could only get them through getting really, really rare drops in loot boxes, and they were a bugger to grind for. So I really hope that Treyarch don't just take their established system, they take Sledgehammer's system from World War II and put that into the next game. If they take that approach, they'll be able to sidestep that potential criticism coming their way because of having loot boxes, which, as I've said, they're not going away. So if you can do that, Treyarch, that would be amazing. And there we have it. They're the things I think Treyarch should do to make Call of Duty 2018. But what do you think? So we're getting pretty close to the game's reveal. It should be coming out in the next few weeks, maybe month or so. So is the stuff I've just said something you'd like to see? If not, what would you like to see? Let me know in the comments section down below. And are you excited for this year's Call of Duty? And if there was a remaster, Black Ops or World at War? Which one do you think? Of course, when the reveal comes about, you'll see me picking it apart here on the What Culture Gaming channel, so don't forget to hit subscribe. Also hit that little bell so you keep up to date with what's going on here on the channel. Also, don't forget to follow us over on Twitter at WCultureGaming. And of course, WhatCulture.com has got lists and articles and all sorts every single day. I'm Rich from What Culture Gaming, and I'll see you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you're looking for more content like this, then try a few things that are floating about around my ears. Might be fun. I can't promise it though, but it might be.